Welcome back to Moments with Mila. I am hopeful that my internet has stopped buffering. This will be my third attempt to try to complete this video today. Nonetheless, I just want to thank you all for taking this moment to spend with me, whether that is now during the live broadcast or later. Thank you in advance for taking the time to watch and to share. Hopefully you'll leave a comment to share your thoughts, your perspective as well, because it's not just what I think, it's what we think, because this is not just about me, it's about us. So let's get going. As you can see from the title of this live, states the purpose very clearly. Black men hate black women. Black men hate black women. Very, very strong words to use. And if you are alive on this planet, you've surely heard it said at some point, peace, my love. You've heard it said at some point that black men hate black women, right? We've heard it. Maybe you've experienced it. I'm not sure. At any rate, I want to talk about a couple of things, then we'll get more into that, all right? Black men hate black women. All right, well, let's see. Tichina Arnold made a statement, and she basically just said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, I don't have anything in front of me, but she basically just stated, as a black woman, she wants to know what we can do, to help stop the emasculation of black men here in America. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty much what she said. So that was her statement. Of course, a few weeks ago, I hate talking about the slap because I feel so bad for Chris Rock that I just hate even bringing it up. But that incident happened, right? But black men hate black women, right? Yet we saw a black man throw his whole career almost away, jeopardized so much. At his greatest moment, we saw this man fall down because of his love, misguided or otherwise, for a black woman, right? Even before Chris Rock made the joke, he said, to that woman, he said, "I love you," but, and he made a joke, which some may say was a compliment to this day. I've heard many say that wasn't a bad thing. It was really a compliment to her, right? But anyway, neither here nor there on that. I don't want to harp on them. We've talked about that enough, even though, once again, we'll continue to talk about that. But getting back to the point, black men hate black women. Well, why is that? Why would a black man hate his woman? Is it because of the attitude of black women? Is it possibly because, it said black women are so damaged that we're hard to love? Is it because black women have had to endure so much on their own, by choice sometimes, and sometimes not by choice, that they become so masculine? It's hard for a black man to deal with them in that sense, trying to, build an intimate bond with a black woman because of this. Is it because black women seem to not care about their physical health as much as other race women? Is it because black women have a very sharp tongue and are quick to literally cut a man in half with the very same tongue that they may use to, kiss him, whatever. I can't say too much, but, whatever. Cut him in half with that very same tongue, break him down with the very same words or whatever vulnerability that he allowed, that he shared with her, to come back and destroy him with that later. Is it because black women don't seem to like being black women? Do black women hate black women? And I say that because oftentimes black women do everything, some black women, I'm not talking about all, some black women do everything in their power to not look like a black woman, to not have the hair of a black woman, sometimes the skin tone of a black woman. I don't want to typecast us in saying that we behave a certain way, but there is a certain, element to black women that is unique to us, and some black women choose to divest from that when they're in mixed company or in so-called professional or religious settings, or just around people who are unlike us. They completely change who it is that they are. So if a black man is standing next to this woman, And he is fully a black man, and she is at that very moment deciding that she doesn't want to be a black woman. Should a black man hate a black woman? I mean, there's so many reasons that I can go on and on and on, you know, but I know typically what happens with that is some sisters will say, you know, that phrase that I really hate, but at the same time, it's not even necessarily a bad thing. You know, they'll say, you want to be a pick me or you're catering to black men. But honestly, I'm not. And you'll see that. So I watched the show. I'm going to come back to this, but I watched the show, a couple of shows that I wanted to discuss. One show where a sister was interviewing about 3 or 4 brothers about why they have completely divested from dating black women, why they would never marry a black woman. And one of the brothers shared that his choice was based on the fact that black women are very verbally aggressive, verbally abusive, don't know how to cater to a man in a sense, kind of similar to what Cam Newton was saying. Another one of the men said that he moved away when he was, I believe in his teen years, out of the country abroad, and then moved back home to his hometown. And he was interested, of course, in dating black women, but they shunned him. They said he was too preppy, he spoke too proper. You know, everything about him that those who now seek white men, you know, I guess he represented that. So they made him feel less than. So maybe out of scarcity or the fact that he wanted to be with a woman, he chose the women who chose him, which happened to be white women for this man, right? And he was married to a white woman, and that's his business preference, right? And there was another brother who sadly echoes a story that many share. Hold on one second. Sorry, phone call coming in. I hope it didn't go out all the way. So anyway, this brother shared a story that I've heard from many black men, and his disdain for black women basically stemmed from the way that his mother was with him growing up. Said his mother was very demeaning toward him, very bossy. She was always angry, and when he became a man, said his mother told him that she was like that so that she could make sure he wouldn't date a black woman. So that she could make sure, this is what he said, what she said, that because she wanted to make sure that he didn't end up with a black woman and go through that. So I don't know. There's some serious damage within that statement. There's some serious, I would say, hatred for herself within that statement, to tell your black son who you birthed that you don't want him to end up with a woman who looks anything like you. Okay? And that's a self-hate thing, definitely. So that's one end of the spectrum. I saw another show that I'm going to link put the link to that show in the description so that you all can watch it fully if you want to. But basically, it was a sister who did a reaction video to a white man who his first name is Cohen. The last name starts with an N. I can't remember it exactly, but it's Cohen, C-O-E-N. But he's a white man who has expressed his love for black women, etc. So she was reacting to his video, and he was basically talking also about why black men allegedly hate black women. So again, sharing that most of the black women who come onto his show, you know, usually the pervasive comment that they make about black men is that all black men hate black women. You know, and he basically disagreed with them, saying that when he grew up, the idols in his life, the men that he looked up to most were black men. And so I guess, you know, he has that story. He grew up around black people, so he was attracted to black women and, you know, etc., you know, so forth and so on in that regard. And he said something, and, you know how it is. Sometimes if a white man says it, that makes it true. But he said that, he said basically that, he said the vast majority of black men that I know love black women. They hold black women in very high regard. They all want black women. He said there's a very, very small group of black men who hate black women. And I think that may be the case within every race, right? But it's so pronounced with us. You know, we're so blatant with our hate for each other. We don't even keep it in house. The world knows how we feel about each other, right? So again, he went on to express that and say that, you know, he hopes that, in the future, sisters would learn to basically look past the few who don't like black women and focus on those who do, right? Again, this is coming from a white man. So, and I won't say it bothers me because what he said was true. It's not like the last sister who was very excited because a black man told her that she was doing something right and getting herself together, going back to school and leaving her child's father once she bettered herself or whatever because he didn't want to level up, right? That is that show is also on this channel if you want to watch that. It's the one before this. Then My King did a show on his YouTube channel, which is the IEP Expressions Network. I believe it was on the No Go Zone. That show, he has two shows. Somebody has to say it in the No Go Zone. But on the No Go Zone, he did a show, and the topic was pretty much saying that the gender war is over. Meaning there's no war between the genders. But that there are other things that we need to focus on now because that's over, right? We men have learned or gotten into the space now where they are advocating for themselves, because for a very long time black men honestly did not do that. Black men honestly accepted anything that a black woman threw at them because, again, they don't hate black women, they love black women, and they were willing to sacrifice so much of themselves for so long so that they could be with a black woman and build with a black woman. But I go back to what I said at the beginning and take it from black man and black woman. If two children are playing in the park and one of the children constantly belittles the other, disrespects the other, shows no regard for that other's actual person over their own feelings, does everything to show that other one that I do not care about you, you do not matter to me. Your value is nothing more than what we can do to play on this playground right now. When we leave this playground, it's over with. So if you feel that way as a black man, taking it back to black man and black woman, if you feel that way, is it hard to love a black woman? You would think that they really would hate us. But guess what, sisters? They don't. They don't. Research proves that. More black men are married than we are. Of course, we are more of the population, so it may be skewed in some way on that, but black men typically want to be with black women. Some will say, oh yeah, when a black man is hurt as a child, he never heals, and then he goes on to hurt every black woman he comes in contact with, and a bunch of excuses, a bunch of this and that. But here's the thing, not only that, family, we need therapy. We're dealing with trauma that resides in our DNA, trauma that has been present with us for generations upon generations and will continue to be present with us until we do the work to fix it. Our relationship, the way we relate with each other, it greatly affects our mental health, our mental wellness. Again, that's why we need therapy. So many of us go into relationships holding on to pains that we've had from women who have decided to leave a man and may say he left her, but women typically leave more than men. Men will typically stay and deal with it and put up with it, and they may go outside the relationship, they may do something, but they will stay. Women leave, and women, y'all know, we leave long before, in our minds, long before we physically leave. We're gone, right? Because we have to move in that way. It's our nature, right? If we're going to do that. Some of us just leave. Some of us don't play those games, but typically a lot of women do play those games. And I want to pose one more thing to you. As I said, maybe it's just that black men don't hate black women. They just hate black women who hate themselves. It's kind of hard to look at a woman as your reflection when everything you see in her doesn't reflect you, doesn't reflect your desires, doesn't reflect your needs, your wants. When everything that black woman is doing is reflecting the desires of a white man, of an Asian man, of any man other than the black man. The way she talks, again, the way you wear your hair, your makeup, your eyelashes, and I won't get too much into that because my man hates eyelashes, and I want him to get in the comments and go off on the eyelashes because I really want this point to be clear. Sisters, it comes down to us loving ourselves. And if we love ourselves, we'll produce black men who love us too. You know, this is an inside job. This is an inside job. And like I said, despite what we've done to black men, they do not hate us. That is one of the biggest lies ever told. The problem happens when, the problem happens, and the biggest problem happens when we truly disregard, and I'm trying to not say this in a way, I'm not trying to tiptoe around it either, but I'm trying to say it in a way that won't get me banned on YouTube. But when we disregard the fact that our men are men, when we want them to be men, we want them to provide, right? We want them to protect, we want them to do all these things, but on our terms. We don't want them to be men in the sense where they're standing in their masculine frame and they're comfortable with that, and we're supporting them in that nature. We almost want them, some of us, not me, want them to be yes men. So yes, I want you to physically be a man when I want you to be a man. And I've not seen one sister do that with a man outside her race. As a matter of fact, I was going to save this for another time. I want to share one more thing before I end. When I was in college, in a sociology class, the topic of interracial relationships came up, and there was a white guy who spoke up on some things that the professor was sharing, and we also talked about it after class as well. So it was him, myself, and a few other students. We were just talking, and he said something. And if I offend someone, my apologies in advance. But these aren't my words. This is what this white man said after class that day. He said, typically, he said, well, he asked me. He said, have you ever? Do you want to date somebody else? I said, no. That's, outside. No, I don't. I don't have that desire, right? He said. He said, he said, and I can see that. He said, I can see because he said, you're secure in your blackness, He was careful. He chose his words very carefully. He said, because typically when I see black women who choose black men, they're a certain type of woman. And when I see white men who date black women, they're typically a certain type of man. And in short, he said, and I know this is not true for everyone because I don't like to use those all statements because, again, you type so many people or put people into a group where they don't belong. It's like saying all men are dogs and all men are liars, but yet we want them to lie. Well, some of us want them to lie to us, right? Do I look fat in this dress, baby? Oh, no, you look good. You know he's lying because you just got off the scale. You just popped that button, but you want him to lie to make you feel good. But anyway, I digress. So he said typically when a white man dates a black woman, he is either very emasculated as a man or he's bisexual. And I said, or he has bisexual tendencies is what he said. I said, how do you say that? He said, because black women, he said, typically black women that I come across, he said, not you and the other two sisters that were there in the group, he said, typically they're very aggressive. They're very masculine. He said, a lot of times you'll see like a bigger black woman, just like y'all talk about with the white men, the black men, the white women, they're real, heavyweight. He said, you'll see like a big, aggressive, burly black woman with a white man, a little frail white man, He said, oftentimes that's the case. He said, but if it's a masculine white man, that same black woman who would not submit to a black man, did not want to show respect or reverence for that black man, did not value that black man in any way, yelled at that black man, demeaned him every chance she could get, will get with that white man who is masculine and change her voice, change the way she moves. All of her mannerisms become as delicate as a flower. So again, does the black man hate the black woman? I don't think so. As a black woman, I would say I know so. I'm very, very well loved by a black man. Very well loved by a black son. Very well loved by black uncles before they all pass and they are all gone. Very well loved. Loved by my father the best way he could before he passed. So I know what it is like to be loved by a black man. I know what it is like to be held in high regard by a black man. I don't have a problem being held accountable black man. As a matter of fact, I welcome it because I know he's speaking to me from a place of truly loving me, not because of some fetish, not because of any of that, but because he sees himself in me, because he can look at me and see a black woman. We like to build ourselves, right? We like to add on to the great things that we see in ourselves. And when your man can see that in you, he's going to do that. Everything that it is you think you want him to do, sister, be what it is that you need to be. And all that is what you are. It's all you are. Not a strong black woman, but a resilient black woman. A powerful and beautiful black woman, just as you are. I'm not saying don't focus on your health, because yes, you need to focus on your health. That's very important. But as you are enough. And if you're loving yourself, all those other things won't even matter. They won't be a conversation, because you'll be that. Neither here nor there. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Again, whether you're watching this now or you watch it later, make sure you do leave a comment. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Just, share your thoughts. I don't mind. It's not going to offend me. Everybody won't think the way that I think, and that's okay. The world would be a very boring place if everybody thought just like Mila. I don't know if I would enjoy that very much. I don't think that I would. So lastly, the black man does not hate the black woman. Okay? Let's stop saying that. And let's stop grouping all black men into this lump like they're all the same, because they're not. We would definitely hate to be grouped that same way. As a matter of fact, we do hate to be grouped. We don't even like to be compared to... Anyway, I ain't gonna get on us, because we got some stuff with us, sisters, that we need to work on. But I won't do like the world does all the time and air it all, in this space. I have plenty of private conversations with my sisters, and I'm very honest with them. I'm very open. And I think that's why some of them reach, well, most of them, all of them, I would say, reach out to me, because they know they're not going to get that lie. It's not my love language. I function in truth, I respect truth, and I operate that way. So with that being said, I'm going to stop there, and I just urge us all to definitely stop saying that. If you see a black man and you ain't scared of him, as y'all say, give him a hug. Tell him hi. Make eye contact. Not a strange man. I'm not saying that, y'all. But tell him hi when you walk by. Speak to the brother. Don't ignore him. Don't look away as if he's insignificant. Y'all don't know how many brothers I've heard let me know that makes them feel so bad when they walk in a room and there's a black woman there and she turns from him, but say there's another race man over here and she's humble and speaking and accommodating. That's crazy. But again, I think that's a sign of hate. If you don't hate your man, you can't love yourself. All right. So remember, of course, this is not a physical fitness video, but as I always say, if you remember nothing else, nothing, absolutely nothing tastes as good as being healthy feels. Until next time.